Hello, everyone. We will get started in just 1 minute. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jen Rhodes, Director of Membership and External Relations here at MEEA. And I'm so happy to invite you to our MEEA Member Highlight webinar today. A couple of quick housekeeping items. So all of the attendees are muted. If you have questions, pop them into that question box and we will get to them at the end. Throughout the presentation, you can pop them in and we will hold them all, like I said, at the end. And this will be recorded and we'll share out this and all of our information that we cover here. Oh, thanks, Molly. In the right way. So let me swap this and see if I can make sure that you're seeing the right thing. 1 second. Where did my controls go? All right, are people seeing the right slide now?
Yeah,
Yes,
you're good
that's
now.
good.
Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so who are we? Why are we here? The Midwest Energy Efficiency Alliance is a collaborative network. We promote energy efficiency to optimize energy generation, reduce consumption, create jobs, and decrease carbon emissions for all Midwest communities. We're a membership association, and you can see the different types of organizations that we have as members right here. And this is a MEEA Member Highlight webinar. So if you are a MEEA member and you're interested in being highlighted, you can share a case study, lessons learned. We just want to know what makes your company unique in the energy efficiency industry. We would love to hear it, and we would love to share that with the rest of our audience. So please reach out to membership@mwalliance.org for any more information. And we'll get you slotted in so you can present and share all of your work with our members. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Robin LeBaron from Pearl Certification is going to share his screen, and we will get into Pearl Certification. So Robin, please take it away.
Thank you, Jen. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be on this webinar with you. So, MEEA, thank you for giving the opportunity to talk a little bit about the work we're doing. I would like to talk to you today a little about what Pearl is doing in general, but specifically in the state of Missouri. We're at in the early phases of a project that we're actually really excited about. So, glad to share this with you and very interested to hear your thoughts and feedback. As you can probably see from this slide, we can move on from this photo, but I am Robin LeBaron. I'm the president and co-founder of Pearl Certification. And I will get this thing to move. There we go. Pearl, in case this is, we are a new company for you, was founded unbelievably almost 10 years ago at this point, to drive residential energy efficiency and renewables at scale. What we want to do is help homeowners improve their home's performance and ensure that high-performing homes are properly valued at time of sale or refinance. Probably we share these goals with all of you on the phone, so those won't come as a surprise. I will say, just as a little bit of background about us, that Cynthia Adams, my co-founder partner and Pearl CEO, and I co-founded Pearl, again, almost 10 years ago, right at the point where the Obama-era ARA stimulus was winding down. We had lived through that. We both have somewhat parallel careers in that we came from previous lifetimes of building high-quality homes. She did single-family, I did multifamily on opposite ends of the country. And we both came into energy efficiency around the time of the stimulus. and in different ways, I at a national and policy level, and she at an on-the-ground implementation level, we're both charged with the task of moving energy efficiency forward as quickly as possible. And my responsibility in particular was to figure out how we get energy efficiency to move to scale, and what policy and other levers needed to be moved. So we worked on that, and my guess is many of you did as well, from the period from 2009 through 2012-13. At the end of it, it felt like we'd been on a little bit of a sugar high and we're crashing. And a lot of interesting work had been done, but we weren't necessarily, we hadn't quite come upon the silver bullet that would drive energy efficiency at scale. So Cynthia and I had a running dialogue through those years, and we felt that we had some ideas that, if implemented, could really make a difference in terms of particularly homeowner adoption of energy efficiency. So we were excited to try them out. We explored a number of different venues, and in the end, we both ended up quitting our day jobs and founding Pearl as a way to really make change in this sector. And I will sort of say as framing that we're excited about what we've done and the vehicle we build, but every day it's more clear to us that we are a community, we in energy efficiency, and it takes a village to do this. So we talk about how we have these big visions and want to drive energy efficiency at scale. And it's absolutely clear that that's not a thing that Pearl does. It's a thing we all do together. So I'll just talk to you about the piece that we do and that we would like to collaborate with many or all of you in doing. I've talked a little bit about the challenges that we faced post-ARA. You could probably make a long list, each of you, of the challenges that you've experienced in creating and delivering energy efficiency programs. Here are some of the things that are top of list for us: that rebates are expensive and have limited success at driving behavior. We clearly saw that at the end of throughout ARA. No success, just not as much success as we would like, and not enough money to drive all the behavior that needs to be driven to really address climate change. We would argue that the whole house upgrade is not something that necessarily has consumer appeal, especially if it's a thing that happens all at one time. Whole house programs and contractor networks are expensive to administer. High-hanging efficiency fruit is hard to reach. Now that we've reached pretty much the end of lighting as an efficiency measure, the question is, how do we get consumers to do more difficult things? And finally, something we talk a lot about at Pearl, there's all this new technology, and by and large, it's an unknown territory for consumers. So the challenge of educating and make sure that homeowners understand what could be done in their homes, including all of those things that could be done cost effectively, is a major challenge for us. Jen, I believe you were going to do a poll on this. Shall I pause here?
Yep, just launched the poll. Folks want to take the survey. It's a multi-choice, so feel free to check whichever you'd like, and we'll share the results when we get a good amount of folks that took it.
Yeah, I'm always curious to hear which of these people find to be their particular pain point, if any. Next time we do this poll, we could have an other too.
I think that we've gotten a good amount of people, still people thinking about it, but I'm gonna end it and we will share the results so you can see.
Huh. Well, that's actually really interesting. If we have question time, I want to ask people about those results. I'm interested that 1 is so low, and not necessarily surprised that 5 is so high, but that's still interesting. All right, let's keep going. And fantastic. Thank you, Jen. That's a good thing to circle back to at the end. One interesting takeaway I have from that is that most people actually feel that rebates are working, which is both interesting and interesting framework for talking about IRA. So just to give you just a little bit more background about Pearl before we dive into the substance of this, I said we've been around for almost 10 years because that was when we incorporated, but really we spent a while raising money, developing technology, developing business plan. We didn't really launch until 2018. So we've been in existence for about 4 years at this point. We have a footprint in 44 states, meaning we've certified homes in 44 states. This point, we've certified over 100,000 homes, and I keep on having to update that number, which is kind of nice. We're doing about 1,000 homes a week. We're not necessarily evenly distributed across the states with footholds in New York, Virginia, Michigan, Arizona, Colorado, increasingly California, but certainly an interest in working almost everywhere and filling the entire US map in green, especially if it means I get a trip to Hawaii at some point. And this is us. We'll circulate this PowerPoint at the end. You may know some of this cast and crew, so I just put it here. A lot of us have been working in the energy efficiency space for a long time. And I do just want to point out that what Pearl does sits at the intersections of residential contracting, energy, real estate, appraising, and you could say manufacturing too, to the extent that's not part of contracting. So we have really worked to develop strong partnerships with all of the leading actors in each one of those sectors. Again, because it takes all of those different parties working together to really achieve the effects we want. So I'll explain that a little bit more, but just keep in mind that the partnerships, whether they're with the National Association of Realtors or the Appraisal Institute or the Department of Energy, are really important background for what we do. And the nonprofit and public partners that are listed down below also really crucial and important for us. And MEEA, we should probably be giving you a call out there as we really enjoy the work we do with MEEA. So I've said Pearl wants to drive energy efficiency at scale, and you can reasonably say, all right, Robin, well, how do you plan to do that? This is not entirely new for anybody on the line, probably, but useful just to think how powerful a lever this could be, this being a home value cycle. So the thought here is that a critical thing that we miss currently as an industry is the recognition at the time of home sale, where the buyer walks through the home, sees that it's high performing, gets excited about those features, pays more for it. And the fact that this happens frequently and that buyers on average, or even a significant number of buyers, will pay more for a high performing home. When that knowledge percolates out to the market such that it's common knowledge that performance just adds value to a home, it changes the conversations with contractors, other improvement decisions, just regular purchase decisions around appliances and so on. Basically, it transforms the consumer expectations about anything that involves high performing features such that they move from being kind of a grudge, like, oh, damn, my water heater broke, I got to fix it, to an opportunity to think about purchasing something that can serve as an investment for the future. So, our ideal future is where attic insulation is almost, if not quite as sexy as a quartz countertop. And all right, we may never quite get there, but I do think there is a lot of opportunity for us to make the things that we know, love, and care about, all these geeky mechanicals, insulation, air sealing, and so on, at least interesting to homeowners and exciting. They may never be quite match a kitchen remodel, but it's funny how consumers will research their phone or even clothing on the internet, all sorts of devices. People will take tech specs really seriously. It's much less of a thing for people to think about the tech specs of their house, even though, as we know, it's their biggest investment. So I'll talk, as we talk through the Missouri program, a little bit more about how Pearl does this, but take this as a starting point, that at this point, the lever to affect that transformation and get that high performing value cycle in motion is to make the high-performing features of the home and the home itself visible at time of sale so that buyers understand what they're seeing. We know from surveys, we know from our own internal research, and we know from market reaction that a significant proportion of buyers at this point are genuinely interested in energy efficient, high-performing, healthy, comfortable homes, and they will pay more for them if they understand what they're seeing and if they have confidence that what they're seeing will be delivered to them in the form of benefits. And the proof of this is that the Pearl certified silver, gold, and platinum homes are consistently selling for a premium above comparable but non-certified homes. We've had a proof point in the form of a study that we did in Virginia almost 4 years ago at this point, that we've had out for a while, but we recently conducted further studies in 3 other markets and found not the same, but similar price points. The premiums actually ranged from 3 to 5.5%, but in each of the markets, there was a clear premium for Pearl certified high performing homes, again, as opposed to comparable non-certified homes. That study is around and happy to share it and happy to talk it through with anybody. So the focus of this webinar was what we're doing in Missouri. We're really excited about this. I don't want to overstate because we are still in the relatively early stages of both thinking this through and implementing. But what I'm going to outline for you is what we've done to date, how the partnership works, and what we are envisioning for the future, and also to some extent how this potentially ties in with the IRA fueled future that we have in front of us. Our real engagement with Missouri started, I think, 18 months ago now, when Andy Popp from the Department of Natural Resources in Missouri gave us a call and said they were interested in talking to us. I've always found Missouri interesting because they had the foresight to, be thinking very much along the same lines that we did in terms of the real estate transaction being a crucial pivot for the energy efficiency industry as a whole. And we're really ahead of Pearl in the sense that they had developed this, the Missouri Home Energy Certification, which was described to do exactly what I was just talking about. They had reached the point where the state was interested, had developed the program to a certain point and felt it was appropriate to pass day-to-day responsibilities onto non-state partners. So they were looking at a local nonprofit called Renew Missouri and asked if Pearl would be interested in providing support. Again, the idea of the Missouri Home Energy Certification was to make the value of a high-performing home visible at time of sale. They had a silver and a gold level, and they developed several pathways that would enable a home to achieve either Missouri silver or gold. One of them was a certain threshold of a HERS rating. One of them was a certain threshold of home energy score. And the proposal that Andy and I discussed and eventually ended up agreeing to was that Pearl silver and gold would also translate into Missouri silver and gold. There's sort of more building science behind that story. I was interested in how well our tiers and their tiers fit. So if anybody wants to geek out on that, we could follow up offline afterwards. But that led to the program that we're now calling Renew Missouri Homes. And there's the logo that we have just rolled out. Again, Missouri Department of Natural Resources has obviously provided the framework and the space for this to happen. We've worked closely with a Missouri nonprofit called Renew Missouri, which has been a wonderful partner to work with. And the real goal in doing all of this work is to drive the creation of more Missouri Home Energy certifications and to ensure that those certifications are properly valued at time of sale. And I guess I could have added another bullet that would have said, and in doing that, to transform the market for high-performing homes. So here's a rather detailed diagram of all of the things that we envision taking place to really drive market transformation. In this sense, it's interesting to work to stand them all up in Missouri. I'm going to focus on I'm going to start at the top right and work my way around 4 bullets and not talk extensively about the other 2. But just at a high level, the things that we think we need to pull together to really drive market transformation are engagement with homeowners, engagement with the real estate sector, broadly defined, home services, meaning contractors and builders, finance as a means of enabling people to afford improvements, and rebates as an incentive to drive people towards improvements, and then energy experts as a potential addition to fill in some gaps in the. We increasingly think about this as an ecosystem where to really have a flourishing market for high-performing homes, there are all sorts of different actors, like the ones listed on this page, that have an interest in high-performing homes. And a big part of what we want to do is to get them to work together such that their efforts are more rather than less than the sum of their parts. Another big piece of this, and a big piece of what Missouri DNR had done, was to partner with the Green Building Registry. So they, reasonably thought that if all we're doing is awarding certifications, the tree will fall in the forest, nobody will hear it. So what they wanted was to ensure that the certifications would be available online. So they worked with Green Building Registry, which is run by Earth Advantage out of Portland, Oregon, and made the certifications available online through the GBR. I want to talk a little bit about how this fits in with our overall strategy a little bit later, but it's clearly an important step in making high-performing homes visible. So, and we have really enjoyed the work of doing the integration with GBR too, and hope that will carry over to other markets. I'd sort of said suspend disbelief a little bit in terms of understanding how Pearl adds value to a home, but let me talk about this now. We're working around that diagram, talking about homeowner engagement, real estate engagement, contractor engagement, and finance. And the Pearl certification is kind of a pivot point for homeowner engagement. Our feeling about homeowners, and this is based on survey research that any of you could access through a quick Google search, but also a lot of our own research and customer engagement and research that we've committed from Elevate. And it indicates really clearly that homeowners really want high-performing benefits. They really care about comfortable homes, cozy homes, well-maintained homes. Homes that don't have comfort issues, homes that are healthy, homes that have low energy bills. They don't necessarily really care about either abstract numbers or about the technical specs that we know and love. So over time, we've developed a Pearl certification that provides technical detail, should homeowners care, but really focuses in explaining what those technical details mean. So for example, what the benefits of owning a high-performing, high-efficiency heat pump are as compared to just, say, a mid-efficiency gas furnace. Again, there's more than I can cover because I want to leave lots of time for questions. So just sort of take this as a blanket statement that Pearl's real focus is engaging the customers where they are with language that they actually use on a day-to-day basis and speaking to them about stuff that's interesting, but that rolls back to all of the building science features we know, love, and care about. The data also runs through the Appraisal Institute addendum. We auto-populate that as a way of ensuring that the features are properly valued. More on that to come soon from us. And this is also more building science than we can cover in this one webinar, but I've mentioned that we have a point-based system. Basically, the more efficient things you have in your home and the more efficient they are, the more points you get. The points roll up to a silver, gold, and platinum levels, which we found to be highly motivational for people. But one thing that makes us somewhat different from some more traditional energy efficiency approaches is that we will certify any reasonably significant thing in a home that is above average in terms of efficiency. And the point there is to make it visible at the time of transaction and to normalize discussion and recognition of high-performing features. So even if, for example, all the homeowner has done a great job of insulating their attic and air sealing their home, for us, that feels like something important to surface at the transaction. And it's important for the buyers to know, even if it doesn't actually get the home to a silver level. So let's talk a little bit about homeowner engagement. That's kind of the pivot point, and that what I just described, plus supporting marketing materials, are what really drives the valuation of a Pearl certified home in the marketplace. I guess we started with the Missouri Home Energy Certification. So let me just connect those two dots. We talked about how the Missouri Home Energy Certification is at this point aligned with Pearl Silver and Gold. The thought is that when a home reaches silver or gold in Missouri, we issue the Missouri certification, but we also give a Pearl certification as a wraparound, just to help ensure that all of the things that Missouri has driven are properly understood and valued at time of sale. One of our big takeaways from the ARA years is that homeowners really need ongoing education and support. It's interesting that surfaced so strongly in the survey. We've developed a consumer portal that we call Green Door, which is designed to be a kind of ongoing mechanism for engagement and support for homeowners in what we think of as a journey to making their homes more energy efficient, rather than a one and done, I'm going to do a whole house upgrade and that's it. It's not that isn't a good model. I mean, theoretically, it is the best. It's more that it doesn't really align with the way most people do home improvement, because a lot of home improvement obviously is driven by break fix. So our thought is, if you can help make the consumer make the right break fix decision, but then get them into an ecosystem, in this case, an online ecosystem, where they can develop a pathway to making their home better over time and find all the resources they need to do it, that's probably a more effective way of driving mass behavior at a mass level. So really quickly, Pearl's certification Pearl's Green Door portal includes a dashboard, home investment plans, which are designed to help homeowners simultaneously improve their home's efficiency and to level up in the Pearl Medallion system, and partner searches to find contractors or real estate agents. Again, love to talk to you about that more, but I'm trying to cover a fair amount of territory fairly quickly. So just think about that as ongoing engagement. Moving around our diagram to talk just a little bit about the real estate sector. Real estate is obviously absolutely crucial when it comes to ensuring that high-performing homes are properly valued. Real estate agents play a crucial role in taste making. They're really the actor that, by and large, home buyers look to when they're making home purchase decisions. And appraisers and lenders obviously are crucial gatekeepers when it comes to high-performing homes being properly recognized and valued, and by extension financed. So a lot of the work that we've done with the certification has been not only to make it engaging to buyers, but also by extension useful and helpful for real estate agents, such that they can actually incorporate it into their business models and use it as a business tool. Again, I can talk for that about 15 minutes. You'll sort of have to take that on faith, and we'd be glad to do a follow-up where we can explain how that works in more detail. But it has been successful. Real estate agents do find that this is useful. They find it a good tool for differentiating and building their own personal brand or their own brokerage's brand. And so on that basis, we work to develop nationally both a network of trained, we call them Pearl partner agents, and also a network of qualified appraisers who have the expertise to certify high-performing homes. Yeah, and just the point that there are a number of opportunities for them to leverage this certification system as a business tool to make themselves stand out. It's the point at which we shout out to MEEA and to Elevate, because I'm sort of implying that Pearl was doing this work. The truth is that we didn't need to, because MEEA, which then in turn has contracted with Elevate, have done a really outstanding job of training real estate agents and appraisers in Missouri, training or educating, so that for the agents, they understand high-performing homes, they have a sense of how to represent and market them in the transaction, and they have a sense about how they could build a business around them, which I'll just keep on emphasizing is crucial. We've educated hundreds of appraisers and hundreds of agents and tens of appraisers. That's been a harder row to hoe, but shout out to Catherine on the MEEA team and Pamela on the Elevate team for driving a lot of change. And just to circle back to the homeowner outreach, we do a lot of, we have started to do a lot of homeowner outreach in Missouri to let people know about the program, about the opportunities. We want to drive visibility. We want to help the Missouri Home Energy Certification become more of a household thing, and we want to create these real estate opportunities. Just briefly, another thing that really underpins this work is a high-quality contractor network. Another lesson from ARA is that, and you know all of this, right? None of this happens, no energy improvements happen without the trade allies. So having both quality contractor and business builder networks is crucial. Interestingly, contractors really like the ability to issue a certification because it provides a point of differentiation and it changes a set of conversations. For example, if somebody's planning to move, their default thing is to buy the cheapest replacement for an HVAC system possible. And a certification that focuses on that, on the HVAC system as an investment, gives the contractor the ability to say, well, you know, you can buy the higher efficient thing and treat this as an investment. The certification will make sure that it's recognized and called out at time of sale. And then one of the other bullets on that diagram, finance is obvious. Rebates are important. Finance is also really important to close the gap with rebates. So we are enjoying the development of a national partnership with the National Energy Improvement Fund to develop a kind of turnkey program. This is not something we've brought to Missouri, so I'm kind of just hand waving at it. It's something that we could bring to Missouri and we could also bring to other states. A lot of the impetus for us working frantically on this partnership right now is that it's really well designed to help homeowners access the revolving loan fund that was created through the predecessor to the IRA, the IIJA. That loan fund, the dollars are interesting, but they have some complicated strings attached. And we think we have a very good turnkey solution we would love to talk about in future conversations or webinars. Getting to the end here, I just want to make the point that many of you are probably looking at this and thinking, all right, well, this sounds fantastic. Like you're promising to do all of this stuff. How does it end up getting paid for? Is there a kind of immense price tag to all of this? The philosophy that we had when we started Pearl is that there is tremendous value in the in-home performance. And in the end, the value is being realized by homeowners. It's, you know, it's that win-win-win thing where they're getting a better home and potentially they're getting more, they're building equity in their home and they're realizing energy savings at the same time and all of the ancillary comfort, health, and so on benefits. So just because we are actually literally creating value as an industry, there is an incentive for all of the actors to pay for the work to make that value realized at the time of sale. So Pearl has actually developed a business model that is driven largely on the basis of monthly contractor subscriptions, where contractors are paying us because we enable them to certify their work, and that provides them with differentiation, which is an attractive business proposition. And that applies to, they're different and complementary business models for builders and manufacturers as well. So that's, again, more to say about that, but it's just, there's value there. There's a market-based way to run a home performance program might be a takeaway for this. So it's not that there's not a role for public sector support or public sector dollars, as we've seen from the MEEA and Elevate example, which is funded, their work is funded largely by utility and public contracts. Public dollars can really facilitate market transformation, but there's kind of a bedrock where the market can handle a lot of this itself. So we've put a lot of thought into that. If it sounds opaque, again, happy to have a follow-up conversation. And that's it. I will leave it there. You can see that we're still in early stages in Missouri, but really excited about this work and really excited about the partners we work with. So happy to answer questions and happy also to think about how we might partner with any of you on the phone over the next months or years.
Thank you so much, Robin. If anyone has any questions, again, feel free to pop them into the question box. One that I have here is, how do you go about recruiting your realtor partners and your trade allies?
Yeah, it's a great question. And Jen, you're reminding me that one thing I wanted to state during the trade ally contractor piece was that we're providing them with differentiation and the ability to say that they can certify their work and help the homeowner realize the value of their investment in a way that their competition can't. The flip side of that is that we only want the best contractors. So we don't want anybody to be able to offer a Pearl certification. So we recruit by, at this point, we've also kind of honed this to a science, but by very deliberately working through several different channels to find the best contractors in a given geography. A lot of that work has increasingly come down to our manufacturer and contract and distributor partners. We partner in particular with Ferguson and Lennox. Both of them have fleets of top tier dealers and have facilitated us having conversations with them. So they're obviously good contractors offering high quality equipment, and that's become one of our primary recruitment vehicles. And in terms of real estate agents, the work that you, MEEA, are doing, that Elevate is doing, actually provide a really good foundation, because you create a pool of trained agents who want a business model, and then it's easy for us to go to those agents and say Pearl provides you with a solution.
Thank you. Can you speak to how the IRA funds will impact Pearl certification?
I certainly could. I was kind of remiss in not doing that. Thank you for that question too. Probably most of you have seen this, but it may have escaped your attention because it's a relatively minor paragraph in the overall IRA bill. But the homes rebates specifically, the ones that the $2,000 to I think $8,000 for whole house upgrades, require that as a condition of issuing the rebate, the contractor arranged to issue a certification that helps ensure that when the home is sold, the value of the improvements will be recognized and ideally valued at the time of sale. So that's obviously very close to our business model, and it's a real, we think, opportunity to showcase certifications. And again, you'll see from this presentation that we think there's a huge public benefit there in terms of driving market transformation. So that's an obvious answer, but I do think a lot of the other things that we do could be very, very important in the IRA context. Obviously, the trade ally networks could be potentially useful. So could the Green Door portal, just in terms of an educational tool, and so could the real estate sector animation.
Excellent, thank you. Can you speak to how Pearl works with moderate and low income homeowners?
I can. I will say this, that my previous career was largely building multifamily and primarily affordable housing in New York. So I care a lot about this sector. And my sense from this is that this may sound sort of counterintuitive, but I think that certification actually has the potential to have more value at the lower price point end of the market than at the higher end. The people at the high end, people like the idea of having a gold or a silver home, and that's fine, and they can afford fancy technology, and that's fine, and to a certain extent they drive the market, and that's also fine. But at the low end, if you have weatherized your home and you've just spent a modest amount of money on cost-effective improvements, let's say it's air sealing, insulation, and a high efficiency HVAC system, the lower income housing stock tends to perform pretty poorly on average. So your home probably really stands out, and whoever owns that home will have the benefit of low energy bills. And, I speak from experience when I say that's a real benefit, because lots of lower income households really struggle with high energy burdens. So there's a real benefit to buyers to be able to recognize a high performing home when they're making a purchase. So in that sense, certification is really important. And of course, it's also really important to the seller, because they can capture the equity, and a 5% equity boost for a low income homeowner can make a lot more difference than to their quality of life than, you know, getting an extra 20,000 can mean for a home at the $1 million price point. And to drill down a little bit more specifically, we're very interested in partnerships with weatherization programs. We'd really like to certify weatherized homes, and we'd like to make that possible. So we have a couple of partnerships across the country in conversation, and would love to pick those up and expand them.
Excellent. Just a couple more here. When a certified homeowner calls for appraisers, how do they find one that can properly add the value?
Well, this is a challenge, right? And honestly, I think this is where public-private partnerships could help expand what we can do. As you can see, you know, we take some of our money and plow it back into trying to train appraisers, because it's a really significant pain point in all of this. And we have an appraiser council that is kind of at the cutting edge of appraising methodology, and we're at this point about to roll out a training course to help appraisers understand how to appraise high performing homes. There's already one in existence. It's very high quality and run by Appraisal Institute. What we want to do is sort of create a lightweight feeder program that gives appraisers an introduction at relatively low cost, and, you know, gives them the appetite to take the longer course. So we're putting infrastructure in place to train a lot of appraisers, but and there's also, interestingly, legislation to sort of drive that we have been working on in Washington. But I do think it would be helpful to have public or utility sector involvement in helping catalyze transformation. We run a hotline so that any homeowner who has a certified home can call us and say, help me position my home at sale. And most of the calls that we get are appraisal issues. So we have like technical resources to help you talk through. If a recalcitrant appraiser says, you know, it's no value to a solar system, nobody values that in this neighborhood, which is a thing. But again, there's a lot more we can do in that space.
Okay. One more. Does the Pearl certification program look more at equipment and building shell or utility usage?
We have historically looked more at equipment and building shell. I didn't show this slide, but we divide our point-based system into building shell, heating and cooling, base load, and what we call planning and management. And those are weighted differently according to climate zone. However, we are at this point energetically dipping our toe into energy performance. So the answer will be 50-50 within 6 to 12 months.
Excellent. One more just popped in. Is the certification only for single family detached homes?
It's only for single family homes. We do, if your attachment is relatively modest, we do, like party walls, fine. Basically, the dividing line for us is if each unit has its own HVAC system, we'll certify it. But we have not yet developed a multifamily certification. I would love to do it, but there's a lot of work in the single family space, and it felt like that was where the biggest carbon savings are.
That makes sense. Those are all the questions that we can get to right now. We really appreciate, Robin, your time today, and for all the attendees, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you on for the next MEEA Highlight webinar. So have a good day, everybody, and take care.
Thank you all. Thank you, Jen.